Hi, everyone. It's Phyllis Francis here. I'm really excited to have a conversation with you about the upcoming program that's happening tomorrow, Unstoppable Sisters Rising. And then just having a conversation in general about the best practices when you're doing a program, reading a book, or just anything that's going to enhance your life personally or professionally. One of the cool things I always tell my clients to do, and even that I do in anything, any book I'm reading, just anything that I'm up for, is I set an intention. So when you're doing something, set an intention. If you're reading a book, if you're watching a summit series, if you're just in a program, I always set an intention to get the most value that I can out of the program. So when I set the intention, I create it. I mean, it could be anything. So for instance, so my summit series is starting tomorrow. And so an intention I would set, okay, if I want to get information on the best way to maximize my clients, to get more clients, that'll be an intention I hold. And when I do the summit series or listen to the interviews or read a book, I'll just listen for whatever is possible to help me with that. The next thing I want to share with you is when you're doing a program, reading a book, or you have like a timeline, schedule in your calendar. That is the one thing that most people, they don't do, is they don't schedule this kind of stuff. So if you're trying to educate yourself or up level yourself personally, professionally, the best thing to do is set some time in your calendar. So what I do when I'm watching a program, or if I have a self-study course, I actually schedule an hour a day at a certain time, and I schedule it like an actual appointment with the client, and then I basically do it in that time frame. If I don't put it in my calendar, it may or may not happen. So even when it's a book, if I have a book that I'm reading, I put it in the calendar, I schedule it in. I even schedule time to like hang out, relax time. I schedule time when I'm with my friends. I schedule everything. That is the one way to guarantee that I will be there on time and know what's happening. So schedule this stuff in your calendar. So if you're listening to the Summit series, schedule an hour a day, schedule 2 hours a day, put it in your calendar. It's so that you can relax, sit back and enjoy it, even if it while you're exercising or something, the best way. It's always best though, especially if you're doing like a self-development program, to focus in a way where you can, so that you can take down notes. The other thing is be open to guidance for the answer. So when you set an intention for anything you do, be open to hearing the answer. So I have a funny story. Years ago, I set the intention when I was in graduate school and I was working full time and I was starting my coaching practice. And this is probably about, 15 years ago. And I set this intention because of money. Like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my money, because I was paying for graduate school. I hadn't taken any loans out, and I was doing multiple things. So I set the intention that night and I went to bed. And when I woke up the next morning, my father called me at 6:30 in the morning, was like, hey, we need to talk. I need to talk to you about your money. I want to talk to you about how you can budget. And I was so upset because, of course, it was a Saturday morning. I think I went out that night before and I was at a club or something. So, of course, I wanted to sleep in. I was like, I'll call you back later. So I hung up the phone. About 5 hours later, I called him back. And I realized, I'm like, what made you call me at 6 o'clock in the morning on like a Saturday? And he was like, I don't know, I just had this feeling that it was time to help you with your budget. So I went to my nightstand, because I do bedtime intentions. I'll set a bedtime intention, like if I want an answer or want support with something. So I went back and I looked at my thing, and on my bedtime intention, it was, I need to have a breakthrough with my money and my budgeting. So it was so perfect that my dad was the one to call to say, okay, let's work on your money, because that was a direct answer to my prayer. So we ended up having like a late brunch and kind of came up with a plan for what I could do to save my money. So just intentions work with everything. I set bedtime intentions. I set intentions when I'm reading a book. I set intentions when I'm in a class, like anything. And it's amazing how the answers will show up, and they'll show up in the most strangest ways sometimes. Like the answer will just come through randomly, through something somebody said, a book that somebody mentions, or, when I went to graduate school. I did a spiritual psychology program, but originally I was looking at a traditional program at like Pepperdine. And I remember I was like, I need to figure out what I want to do, because I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do Pepperdine, but I was going through the process of enrolling, and I felt like there was something else. And so I set this intention, okay, God, Spirit, let me know if this is the next steps. It was so interesting. Within 3 weeks, I kept hearing somebody share with me, oh, you should check out this school, the University of Santa Monica. And I was like, okay, I never heard of this school, but okay, fine. I think a week later, somebody else brought it up, and then somebody else brought it up again. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to check this school out. I ended up doing that program, loved it, went through the process of going to study for my MFT, getting my marriage and family therapist. But I would not have taken the cues had I not set that intention, like I need to figure out what school I'm going to do. I need to figure out what I'm going to do as far as my graduate program. So it's really interesting when you set intentions how it shows up. And it showed up in passing. I met somebody randomly at lunch that was telling me something amazing that they did, and it was with their program. So you just never know. So just be open to guidance and just allow the universe to bring the answer to you. The fourth step that I think is really important when you're setting an intention and when you really want to create results with anything that you're doing is take action. So the moment I got the idea, okay, this is the school, this is the program, I took action. I went to their informational interview. I signed up for the program. It was the best thing I ever did. And so it's really important when you set these intentions and the answer keeps coming. And my answer, I didn't always listen to the first time I thought it was the answer because I needed confirmation. I needed to make sure. But once I was clear, I called the school, went immediately to their next event, and it was perfect. And when I do set intentions and the information comes, like when somebody tells me the book and I'm like, oh, that's the book I need to read, I buy it on Amazon right away. Take action. Because then then it just becomes another great idea that doesn't unfold. The fifth thing I want to share with you to get the most out of any program is accountability. You have to follow up. There needs to be some sort of accountability. So if I'm doing a program, if I want to read a book in the month, I will tell a friend what I'm doing, maybe get somebody to come on and do the same thing with me, and just create some sort of accountability system, like somebody that I can discuss it with. So I used to do books when I would do books, like book groups, where we would meet once a week and discuss the chapter, and that really helped to where I did finish the book. Because if I know somebody's waiting to talk to me about it, or if there's some sort of program, an accountability in place, it's going to get done. So you always want to have some sort of accountability, whether it's getting a buddy, whether it's getting a coach. I always say get a coach because it's great to have somebody that's neutral to support you and somebody that knows what they're doing. But always create some sort of accountability system so that you can get the most out of anything you do. So what the Unstoppable Sisters Summit, it's starting tomorrow. It's 2 interviews a day. It's free. Like I tell clients, okay, set the intention. What is it that you want to get out of this? What's the value you want to receive, whether it's personal or whether it's professional? Because this program is for entrepreneurs, but there's a lot of great information in these interviews for you to support you in your personal life too. So set that intention, what you want to get out of it. Schedule it in the calendar. If you know you want to listen or watch the interviews, put them in the calendar. Schedule it in. If you work all day, schedule it in the evening. If you're going to exercise, schedule it then during that time. Like, put it in the calendar. Then guaranteed you'll probably be able to most likely finish it and actually watch them if you do that. 2, be open to guidance. Just be able to be open so that when whatever intention you set, be open to hearing the answer. And it can come, like I said, in any ways, through another person, through a book, through an idea, through a dream. Just be open to hearing the answer. Take action. So once you get the answer, take an action step towards that. Move forward so that you can completely get what it is that you needed to, and then have some sort of accountability system in place. Follow up. I mean, the most important thing, follow-up is huge. I say that to all of my clients, especially with entrepreneurs. When you're doing sales call, 80% of the money comes up on the follow-up. You must follow up. And so if you're not following up with your sales calls, put a system in place that you're following up. Follow up with, have somebody hold you accountable. Follow up with what you're doing and make sure that you complete it. So that's it. That's my Facebook Live. I haven't done these, and I'm really excited to do a Facebook Live and kind of start getting out there and sharing what I'm up to out there in the world. And it's great to seeing all the people watching. Hi, Shalon. Hi, Yvette, everyone. So thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, go ahead and text me. Go ahead and message me. And then I'll see how I can help you, support you with growing a business that you love and living a life that's exciting. All right, everyone. Have a good day.